Thanks for staying with us. It's now time to turn our attention to the small matter of the world of sports on a very, very busy Sunday. World Cup has really been keeping everybody on the tips of their toes and on the edges of their couch. And Morena Motupi is here to bring us the very latest. And Morena, I mean, even Argentinian hearts were left aflutter last night when Australia came back with a little goal at the death, with many very passionate Argentinian fans thinking, oh my goodness, is this it? Is this the big comeback? So there are no small games in the round of 16. And today we've got France against Poland at 5. And then England against Senegal at 9 o'clock tonight. None of those are going to be approached as easy games for England or France, are they?
Not at all, Marcel. So if you look at what happened in yesterday's games, you had a Netherlands team that themselves were kind of clutching at their chest, wondering if the United States would actually complete that comeback. But of course, Denzel Dumfries making sure that that's not going to be the case. But still, you are not seeing too many games in the World Cup that are goalless, right? You're seeing a whole lot of great action. And today we can only but hope it'll be the same case. The defending champions still have quite a lot of work that they themselves need to do. They're coming up against Robert Lewandowski, who seems quite inspired, having led his team into the knockout stages. And then, of course, a little later on at 9 o'clock, it's, I think, the one that the whole African continent will be watching with bated breath to see, can Senegal actually do it? Can they make sure that it does not come home for England? Because they too are wanting to do a little better than what they did in 2018, are the English, and go all the way to either the final or even winning this competition. They've shown in the Euro that they're capable of going all the way to the final of a major competition. So today's games are going to be incredibly interesting, at least for Africa. We can only but hope from an African point of view that our boys, and I say our boys as a continent, that they progress beyond today's game. But of course, you say there's a whole lot that's happening in Sunday sporting action. One of those things happening right here at home is the FIH Nations Cup. Now, South Africa taking on Ireland. That's in the title decider of the inaugural Nations Cup. The Proteas defeating Pool B winners South Korea 3-2 on a penalty shootout, following a 1-1 draw in the semi-final. Ireland seeing off Malaysia 3-0 for a place in the final. So our reporter Hloni Mtimukulu has been out there following the tournament for us in Potchefstroom, and she joins us now live. A very good afternoon to you, Hloni. I mean, today I think you've spoken to the team, you've spoken to the players and the coach. They know what it is that they have to do. The interim CEO, of course, of the association, putting it down to them to say that you know that you have to win this for us because you're in the final now. But what has just been happening today with the build-up to the final?
Yeah, Morena, so at the moment, the two semi-finalists, the two losing semi-finalists from yesterday, that is Malaysia and South Korea, are in action. I can't see the scoreboard at the moment, but that game started just after 1. So that will go on. And of course, as you say, then South Africa will take on Ireland in the final. And we know that earlier in the week, on the 1st of December, Ireland did beat South Africa by a narrow margin, 1-0. When we spoke to the team yesterday, they did say that they had held back a few things, and so they want to kind of change that up going into that final. They know what they can do. It's a big opportunity for the team to kind of show their mettle as well. When you think this is when you talk about football, and you've been talking about football, this is almost like the umbrella of the football world, because it is the qualifier for the FIH, the Pro League tournament. And joining me to talk a little bit more about this and why South Africa was decided as the host venue for this umbrella type of tournament, this qualifier for the FIH Pro League, is the sports director at the FIH, John Wyatt. John, firstly, we've had a number of events in South Africa in the past year or so. What is it about South Africa that the FIH has identified as a hub maybe for hockey?
Well, firstly, thank you, and thank you for having me on. It's great to be here in Potchefstroom. We've had, as you say, a couple of other events already this year. Here, the facilities are fantastic, and we like to try and spread those facilities around, spread our venues and where we play our tournaments to different parts of the world. But we found in Potchefstroom a real high-quality hub, fantastic facilities, a really professional organising team. And as we can see today here for the final day, we've got a fantastic crowd as well, good weather. We couldn't play in many parts of the northern hemisphere in December, so yeah, it's a great facility.
And I read your bio on the FIH website, and it says that you want to do more to professionalize the sport of hockey. Just in terms of where things are now for these 10 to team 18 ranked teams, where are things, and how do you go about kind of making hockey a bigger sport in these 8 countries?
Yeah, I mean, it's the $1 million question, right? Every sport is fighting for fans, for participants, for players, to get TV coverage, so things like this really help. But we have a real difference around the world in hockey. So in some of our top countries, it is a professional sport. Some of the Asian countries, some of the top European countries. But it's all about trying to promote the positives about the sport. We have a very equal gender equality. We have as many female players as we have male players. It's one of the real strengths of the sport. It's a fantastic family sport. And we're trying to get as many people and introduce as many people as possible into the sport. If we can do that, we can attract more crowds. It can become more money comes into the sport with sponsors, with ticket sales, and then the players can benefit, and it can become more professional. It's certainly moved on from the dark ages when I played 20 years ago, when there was certainly no money around. But now there is a little bit, and many of our athletes are full-time athletes.
And just talking about the benefits to the athletes, and when you were playing, you were a double Olympian from 96 and 2000. We spoke to our vice captain, Keenan Horn, and he's on his way to Paris next year to play there in club hockey there, and he'll be able to work there. What are some of the lessons maybe that can be taken by these countries, and seeing what the other countries do in Europe to say, this is how you do it, this is what you can do to kind of implement more professionalism in the game of hockey?
Yeah, I mean, it starts from the administration, probably, and really promoting and professionalizing the administration. If you get a professional administration with really high quality facilities, marketing and promoting the sport, then you can start to bring in the commercial partners, you can start to bring in government funding, and it's at that point that the players can start to be paid. Many coaches around the world are already paid, so the professionalism has come in at the coaching level, and it's now starting to build at the player level as well. But it doesn't have to be big countries. Belgium really transformed their hockey in the last 15 years. They had a strategic plan. They were ranked in this sort of level, sort of 15-ish in the world 10 years ago, and now they're world and Olympic champions. So everyone can do it. You need a good strategic plan. You need some good people in place, and then you need to invest in your coaches and your players, because good sport and successful sport attracts people. People want to come and watch it. People will support it, and it's when you start to get those fans that we can really start to bring in that investment.
Thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of the tournament, what remains of the tournament. We know that there is still what remains of this match between Malaysia and South Korea, and then of course the final between South Africa and Ireland that is coming up. So Rana, does promise to be a good afternoon of hockey. There is a bigger turnout today, so we hopefully will see even more spectators than we did see yesterday to watch South Africa hopefully beat Ireland.
And can this be the case in events to come here in South Africa where hockey is concerned? Because again, as of course Mr. White had mentioned, more support means more money, means more attraction, means, professional players, and means paid players, which is, I think, the most important thing. Hloni, thank you very much. I'll be leaving it there with you. That is our reporter, Hloni Mtimukulu, of course, just looking ahead to the final between South Africa and Ireland at the FIH Hockey Nations Cup happening in Potchefstroom. And that's where we leave it from the sports desk for now. Marcel?